Oh, I guess it did go live. Well, hi everyone.
Everybody.
Welcome to another episode of Hot of the Line. As you can see, Keith is not here tonight. He had something come up. I'm sure he will talk to you guys about that later. I guess the intro video didn't play either. I'm watching it on the YouTube. I don't know what happened, but there we go. We are here for another episode of Hot of the Line. How are you doing this Monday, Crypto Badel?
I'm doing all right. Just got done mowing the yard and no time to research much of what we had planned to talk about. So
No, it's all okay.
you can hear the fan in the background because was covered in sweat. And I had to change my shirt and I had to take the hat off for a little while just to cool off for a little bit. It's gonna be a hot week where I'm at. That's 87 today. We're supposed to be in the mid 90s for like the next 8 days.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be here. We hit 94 degrees today. I was not overly ecstatic about it. I was like dying in the heat. I'm just glad to be back home in the AC. It's a whole lot better.
Yeah, I wish. I'm out in the garage where it's probably hotter than it is outside, but
Well, you got to get yourself a little AC unit in there.
I don't have any windows.
Oh, well, they make in like in room ones that you could totally use. I think you have to. I'm not sure how the venting works on it, but I'm sure we could figure something out so that you can be cool in the summer and then being hot in the winter is easy. So
not out here because it's uninsulated, as you can see.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you got your mining rig set up out there. We could definitely get you a heater source out there.
Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of a whole plan. Like I want to, but this 2.5 car garage uninsulated is a 120 15 amp breaker. So it's about the same as a bedroom, but it's like 4 times the size of a bedroom or 3 times.
So you'd have to upgrade that to be able to do a little bit more. Just turn your garage into your little grow room. There you go. Then it'd be nice and warm.
Yeah, but it also smelled pretty bad.
Yeah,
nothing would smell bad, but it would smell definitely.
Oh yeah, but that's like the least of the issues. I see we got one person in the chat so far, Miss Crypto Badel. Hello. Other than that, I'm not seeing anyone else in the chats for now. So hi to all you lurkers. Hope you're having a great Monday. Enjoyed some of those upward movements on the markets.
I mean, are we okay? I was gonna say, like, are we not live on CCM's channel?
Some of those We are. We're live on CCM. We're live on yours, and we're live on my X. We've got apparently 12 people watching on X right now. So thank you to everyone that tuned in on X. We've got 1 on yours and then 3 on CCM's. So thank you for everyone tuning in today. And we got more than a few things to talk about. I know Keith really wanted to talk about the Solana ETF filing. Let me get that shared. I did not share that. I got here literally like 3 minutes before we were supposed to start the stream. It is an hour drive from work. So there we go. Got that all shared with everyone. So I'm sure you heard a little bit, Badel, about the Solana ETF filing last year. So they now came with an update. The SEC says that they need to update their filings with an S1, which is just a form. The big part of this, though, is that they are wanting to add staking to the Solana ETF, We can dive into this real quick. 7 Solana ETF applicants filed S1 statements with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on June 13th. However, Bloomberg ETF analyst James Seyffart doubts approval will come as soon as next week. I think there needs to be a back and forth with the SEC and issuers to iron out details, so I doubt it. If anyone remembers the Bitcoin ETF launch, there were a lot of filings over the preceding months before the launch. Seyffart said in a post on Friday, US-based spot Bitcoin ETFs launched in January 2024, more than 10 years after the crypto exchange Gemini co-founders Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss filed the first spot Bitcoin ETF application with the SEC in 2013. Staking language was included in all the filings. On June 13th, Fidelity Investments filed an initial S1 registration statement for the spot Solana ETF product, while 21 shares, Franklin Templeton, Grayscale Investments, Bitwise, and Canary Capital filed S1 amendments. VanEck was the first U.S. firm to file a spot Solana ETF in June of 2024 and was the last to submit the amended S1 filing for the day. And that's just so that they can add that staking in. And that's a big part. I know CCM has a bit of a different thought process where he does think it's going to be approved. Me, like Seyffart, because they're adding this whole staking process, I'm of the same mind that it's going to take a little bit while. That first initial approval that they can do would be in August. I think just like with the Bitcoin ETF, it gets pushed back quite a bit because we saw that first one was supposed to be approved in like 2023, didn't get approved until January of 24. So, there's a lot to do, especially when you have a completely new investment vehicle and you're wanting to add in staking as a big element of that. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. I know you're not a big Solana guy.
I like Solana. I mean, except for all the meme coins that were mainly rug pulls on it. But, I made some money on Solana meme coins. But, like, the whole ETF thing, like, I thought the SEC was completely against the staking ETFs. And now they're saying, like, okay, maybe we'll allow it if you do this. But it's like the SEC has their hands in so many different cryptocurrencies pockets right now that they don't even know what the hell they're doing.
No, they and that's a big part of why he said that he thinks it's going to get pushed back, because it's like there's not really enough information on the ground coming from these banking institutions that want to offer this to your consumer. Where it's like, okay, well, we want to add staking. Well, how does this staking process work? I doubt anyone at the SEC could really tell you how staking works in crypto. Which, I mean, it's basically the same way as like you put your money in a savings account and they give you a yield because they loan it out. But you're talking a whole different animal when you get into crypto staking. Are they going to offer? Are they going to offer these people the full yield on Solana? I fully doubt it. If you're buying their ETF, why would they give you the full amount that you're staking? They're probably going to take a percentage. So now you got to get into the extra paperwork on what percentage cut they're taking, what percentage cut they're giving. And then when you're talking about dealing with US dollars on this, you're now a money lender and you're money lending through an ETF, which adds a whole layer of complexion. So I don't think this gets approved in August, like so many other people were thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I look at staking with crypto as kind of like a CD with fiat. Like you buy a 6-month CD and you're locking that money in for 6 months. Now you can withdraw early, but there's a penalty. And it's kind of like that with staking, but kind of flip-flop. Like you stake your crypto for however long you want, but depending on the crypto that you stake, depends on the amount of time that it takes to unstake it, so it's actually available for withdrawal. But then there's different exchanges that have the same coin with different unstaking periods.
Yeah, and that's more on them for being able to do like, oh, what did you actually have staked? And like Coinbase, if you stake Polkadot with them, it's like a 28-day unlocking period, where if you just staked Polkadot yourself, it's a 21-day unlocking period. So they're going to have to get really into the weeds on this for an ETF. And it's going to be way more complex than any ETF they've ever offered. And I think that's too many hurdles to try to jump at once. They should have just went with the first one. And there's already been talks about adding staking to the Ethereum one. They're going to have to go off of that example. The SEC might be like, if you hadn't added staking, we might have approved you, which I do believe would be more likely to be approved. If it was just a Solana ETF and you were able to buy Solana and this institution was going to hold it for you, and you get the gains off of the asset going up, that'd be a whole lot easier to offer, and then you can deal with staking at a much later time. But they're trying to do way too much at once, just because it's chasing the money. They want the money the same way that Trump wanted all those gains off of making USDC one. Or USD one.
I just gotta say this though for a minute. Coinbase and staking, they need to redo their whole staking process, because like I unstaked Polkadot a few months ago and it takes 28 days. Okay, fine. 26, 30 days, 28, whatever days it is. And it comes up with a confirmation. Your rewards will not gain any more staking rewards. Confirm or deny. Confirm. I want to unstake all my Polkadot. Guess what? A month later, or however many days later, my Polkadot was unstaked, but then I still had 3% of my Polkadot still staked.
Oh yeah.
So then I did that again today, and it's like, you only have 5 Polkadot. You're not going to earn any more rewards during the unstaking period. I go, yeah, okay, that's what you said last time. I just want to unstake it because I'm so tired of like this thousandths of a penny transaction every day. Yeah. And it's like, if I have to go to do my taxes, I'm going to have 30 pages of a thousandths of a penny everyday transactions.
Oh, yeah. And unlike a stock where when you get dividends, which is basically how these crypto projects are trying to do it with their staking, is like, you get a dividend. We're going to pay you in this asset. Well, instead, when you get paid with staking, all of those are taxable events. You get taxed on that staking gains. So how do you add that to the ETF? And then how is that whole staking and an unstaking done in an ETF? Do you still get your gains? Or like in Coinbase, are they going to be like, oh yeah, well, we unstaked it for you, but is it ever going to be a infinitely smaller number of Solana that you have in your account that you just can never stop, and you're just forever earning Solana? Like,
yeah, I mean, you can unstake it every time that you can, and it'll tell you, no, you're not going to earn rewards. But then when that unstaking happens and you sell it or transfer it to another coin, you still have some of that, say Polkadot or Solana, still there, because your staking still earned rewards. And it's like, it's a never-ending process. And it's like,
so the way to do that, the other way to do that is you turn off auto restaking, and then it will not end up restaking that the earnings that you got and sticking you in that infinite loop. But it's still like, they make it extremely hard to do because they want you to keep it. It clearly
says confirm or cancel of, you're not going to earn any rewards while the unstaking process is going on. It's like, yes, I understand that. I don't want any more rewards. And then you get that unstake and you're like, okay, cool. You go back and guess what? There's still more rewards. And it's like,
yeah, no, and see, because like everyone's big on like an ADA ETF, and ADA's staking periods are extremely small. It's 5-day windows. So like it was so hard for me to get all of my ADA being unstaked because it was just auto restaking it. And they say you're not earning any rewards in that staking period. But at the end of the 5 days, I got more ADA, and I'm like, please just stop it.
yeah, and you get to that point where you're down to like a 1/10 of an ADA or a thousandth of an ADA that's earning, you know, a thousandth of a penny or a millionth of a penny a day, and fine, but like you said, it's all taxable transactions, and you want to go to your accountant with 50,000 pages of a millionth of a penny transactions every day? Like, come on.
Yeah, that sounds fun for someone else to deal with, though. It's like,
yeah, but who's the one paying for it? We are.
Yeah. But hey, at least you don't have to do the paperwork on it. I'm not that good of a tax guy, so I won't be dealing with that. Someone else will.
I just don't file. Fuck them. That's the way I like it.
Hey, I mean, as long as you pay the right amount, that's all that matters. Technically, that other part doesn't matter. The filing isn't really the whole part that matters. It's did you pay your proper amount, and that's all they really care about. Because like the filing is to get your returns, not all psychos knock the IRS. Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, the filing isn't the point that you file to find out what your return is. You don't file. You also file to see if you paid the right amount. But as long as you did your taxes properly on your end, you paid the right amount and you probably overpaid. So.
No, I underpay every year. Granted, if I filed. Okay, but here's my scenario real quick, right? I have a 7 to 3 job, taxable income. I get taxed on it. Child support comes out before the taxes due, right? Child support is 45 to 48% of my check. So my taxes are based on 55 to 52% of my check. So when like my yearly income comes in, it shows I made this, but I paid, say, a quarter of what I should have in taxes because the other half went to child support.
Apparently I had it backwards. So it's illegal not to file, but it's perfectly fine not to pay them. You'll just be garnished. They're going to get their money. They'll take it straight out of your check.
I'll find another job.
Yeah. And they'll garnish that one too. Eventually they'll catch up with it.
Yeah, but like where I'm at though is like just round numbers, say 50% of my income goes to child support. So then I'm paying 50% less on taxes per paycheck. So at the end of the year, if I filed saying I made 40,000, but my net income was only 20 and I paid taxes on 20, then I would still owe taxes on the other 20. Right?
I don't think so, but I'm not a tax professional. So
taxes are based on what you earn, not what you spend. And my taxes out of my check are taken out after child.
Not financial advice or tax advice.
So it's like I feel even if I filed, I'm gonna owe twice as much as I paid throughout the year in taxes, plus probably more.
I'm not sure. I don't know how that works. I'm honestly don't. The whole child support thing is a whole nother animal. So
yeah, because it's no income for the mother, so it's free money, but yet you still have to pay taxes on that. But that money is taken out before the taxes are taken out.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be.
I feel I would owe twice the amount of taxes that I paid throughout that year. If say my child support is 50% of my check.
But if they're taking it out before taxes, then I feel like that's not taxed money.
But it's money I earned which is taxable money.
Yeah, but it's not your money. So
But then they don't have to pay taxes on that because that's not considered income.
yeah,
So,
they're probably not getting all of it though.
So the IRS is getting money from someone, and it's not
Yeah.
the mother. It's going to be from me at some point.
Well, there's one way to find out. You could
That's the
file.
way I feel, and that's the way I look at it. Is
Well, you can file and find out. But let's hop into that next one because we had GameStop getting some nice rips towards the upside that past week before their earnings, and then they had a massive sell-off after their earnings, as you can see from this chart over here. I don't know if you can actually see that. Let's zoom that on in so people can get a better view there. There we go.
We can see it.
Yeah, GameStop got that giant drop off of it. This was before their earnings were reported. GameStop got that nice giant rip towards the upside. This was their first earnings report, though. After you scrolled on down here, they scooped up 4,710 Bitcoin at a cost of $512.6 million. So they do have a crypto reserve now. I thought it was quite a nice little play to ride that up. They got a nice 43% pump off of the pre-earnings report. As soon as that earnings came out, and it was a little bit under, they immediately went right back down. Looks like they found a little bit of support. We could analyze it on the super chart, but there's no reason to. I just thought it was kind of a nice little watch to see GameStop get some pumpage off of buying some Bitcoins and seeing that in their earnings report. So a lot of meme stocks were ripping towards the upside at the same time. So a lot of people dabbled in on that one. I'm not a big GameStop person or a meme person, as y'all probably know, but I did think it was quite fascinating to know that they bought that much Bitcoin. I didn't realize it was that much, but they bought quite a bit of Bitcoin. Over almost $500 million worth of Bitcoin is owned by GameStop and is sitting in the reserves. So something to kind of buoy their stock price just a little bit. They found a better floor on the bottom of their prices.
Yeah, but they've been closing stores for the last decade.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they make
it. Spend, say, almost $500 million on Bitcoin because what?
Yeah,
you were almost bankrupt, and now all of a sudden you have $500 million. Like, come on.
I mean, all these people that are in GameStop that just won't sell are holding them up. They got enough money to apparently spend $500 million on some Bitcoin and have a Bitcoin reserve. That might buoy them for a little while. And I like, honestly, they're not in the business to make money in them anymore. They're in the business of nostalgia, and that's kind of what's kept them around. So we'll kind of have to see how this goes in the future. I don't think I think the Bitcoin was just like a play for them to make a bunch of money, and that's basically what they did. They sold a bunch of shares. They added a bunch of shares, split their company down a little bit further, raised some capital, bought some Bitcoin with it to try to get that that hype and that upside momentum. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that one, or if you just want to hop straight into your favorite projects news. Yeah. We all know how you feel about some XRP. So,
I
one.
I gotta say this. I don't know why everybody says I love XRP. I've just been holding it ever since it got delisted, and now I'm up like 11 to 12x. So it's like I'm selling a little bit here and there, but I'm hoping like it goes like $5 or $6. But I don't know. $3 would be nice.
We got Andrea in the house. How you doing tonight? And we got Mike Volmer in here as well. And then, as I had said earlier, all set in the chats. Appreciate every single one of you. And Chuck Danger 87 and 51 people watching on X. I appreciate all of you for tuning on in tonight. We will have CCM back next week. As we said earlier, he's got some stuff going on and couldn't make it. So, let's hop into this last one. We can have a bit of a shorter show. I know you might have a little more to say on this one, since you hold XRP, and this might give a little bit of a boost to their price. You might get to a little bit of a selling window. Take your 11x, or might go up higher. Take your gains and just be like, thanks XRP, I'll buy you when you're back at like 20 cents again. So Ripple and the US SEC jointly proposed $125 million settlement split to end the XRP lawsuit. Ripple and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission have jointly proposed a settlement that would split $125 million civil penalty, potentially ending one of the longest-running legal battles in crypto history, according to the June 12th filing shared on X by Crypto in America's host Eleanor Tourette. The two parties are asking a Manhattan federal court to dissolve a previously issued injunction and release the $125 million currently held in escrow. Under the proposal, $50 million would be paid to the SEC, while the remaining $75 million would be returned to Ripple. The proposed settlement follows a complicated legal history that began in 2020 when the SEC sued Ripple Labs for allegedly conducting unregistered security offerings through institutional sales of XRP. In July of 2023, a federal judge ruled that Ripple's programmatic XRP sales did not violate security laws, but found the company liable for institutional sales. A $125 million penalty was imposed in August of 2024 and placed in escrow during Ripple's appeal. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this one, but I think it's a little bit weird here that they say you are not guilty of violating securities laws, but you're in trouble for your institutional sales of XRP. How does that make sense? How are you still fined for selling XRP if the XRP that they're selling is not a security?
Well, because that's a problem I have with the American judicial system is you can be sued for one thing, found not guilty, but then be found guilty of something else that you weren't even charged with in the first place. And it's like, how does that even make sense? Like, Ripple won their case. They were found to not be a security. But then they had to pay $125 million in escrow just to file an appeal over something that they were found guilty of that wasn't even in the original case.
So the reason that they were in trouble for securities laws was because of their institutional sales. So that was the problem there. That is why they ended up having the SEC file suit. But if your SEC filing was all because you're saying they're violating securities laws because of their institutional sales, and it is now found that they're not violating security laws, so how are those institutional sales penalized? How are you going to penalize, and how are they ponying up $50 million when apparently they did nothing wrong? That's it just baffles me.
Well, no, they didn't pony up the $50 million. They ponied up the $125 million. Yeah.
They're going to get 75. They're going to get 75 million back, but they're ponying up 50 to the SEC, even though they're saying the federal courts say that they're not violating securities and exchange laws. And so that means that their institutional sales of their asset was doing absolutely nothing wrong.
But they're willing to give that 50 million to the SEC just
for what? Why?
For a signature so the lawsuit can end.
See, and I would be fighting that. I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't want to pay a penny. But if you're telling me I did
the problem, they're facing the American government. They have their company money. The American government has our tax-paying dollars to fund them. Who do you think is going to win in the long run? The American government.
I mean,
so Ripple is saying, look, we'll give you 50 million. Just sign your John Hancock here, and let's be done. And I guarantee the SEC is going to come back and say, no, we want 100 million and not 50.
I mean, they
might settle for 75 each, but that could be another 6 months to a year.
Yeah. And I mean, this is just their first initial offering of a settlement to have the case fully dismissed.
There was a settlement, I think, in the one that I was reading. Is that there was a settlement kind of before, but it wasn't. Neither sides proved a case. So then the judge just continued it for like another 3 or 6 months.
Yeah. So that was just the first initial. It has not actually been approved by the courts yet. It has just been continued forward. So we'll kind of have to see how this all progresses. But I think at the end, this might give XRP's price a little bit of a pump now that they can finally say, hey, look, our hands are clean. We are completely out of the courts. We got our money back. We paid the SEC. Here's their paperwork that says we did nothing wrong and all the cases have been dismissed.
Yeah, but the SEC could, with the tax-paying dollars, say, no, we want 125 million of that. You only get 25. You want to fight me? Go ahead, because we got all the tax-paying dollars behind us. Eventually, you'll run out of money, and then XRP goes to zero.
I don't think, with how many people are in XRP, I think it's going to be a big battle to have XRP ever go to zero, because there's just a really, really strong community behind it, and they already proved that they're not a security. Andrea brings up central banks will use Chainlink for their own stable coins for blockchain throughput. Ripple will sell them some of their tech, and XRP will fade out or just be an investment for newbies. Well, XRP and Chainlink are actually paired up to do a lot of movement of US dollars. And they did that for a country, some banks over in Asia as well. They paired up to do the movements of stable coins and their banking institutions. So Ripple's trying really, really hard to pair themselves to Chainlink. So I don't know if XRP really ever fully goes away. Their tech, I'll give it to them. Their tech is great. I'm not the biggest fan of XRP. But the fact that they won this lawsuit lends them some legitimacy for other companies to kind of piggyback off of. And Chainlink already did it. They paired up XRP and Chainlink paired up to make Ripple's stablecoin. So
I mainly just like XRP because that lawsuit, which sucked on the price, but they won at the time, and that was a huge win just in crypto in general, not just XRP, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, all them cryptos out there. It was a big win for the crypto community altogether, and not just for XRP. Because if they would have been found as a security, then what? 95% of cryptos are going to be classified as a
security.
Yeah. And then what? And then you're left with 5. Like,
I mean, maybe
that would have been a huge bad blow for the crypto community. That's kind of why I support XRP, and that's why I like XRP, because they fronted the money, they did their research, they fought them in court, they won. Granted, not technically 100% won, but
I mean, even when you win, you still got to pay. I mean, it's a pay-to-play system. So
they won the war, but not the battles.
yeah, I mean, they paid out through their teeth to win in court, and it now lent a lot of legitimacy towards the crypto space. Me personally, I just wish XRP would kind of just die. But you did what you were supposed to do for the crypto space. Now hurry up and go sit in the corner and just do nothing. But I think they're going to be around for a little while. And I think if this settlement actually gets agreed upon and they can fully be like, look, we're out of the court system. We no longer have any lawsuits against us. There's no civil suits. There's no nothing. We're free and clear. I do think they get a little bit of a price bump off of that. And that might be a sell signal. So just my thoughts on it.
I mean, it's just another cryptocurrency that's in the news and has been in the news for 5-6 years now. Like, you could buy right now and maybe make some money. I don't know. Maybe. It depends on how the filing goes. You're either going to make some money or you're going to lose money.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they are closer to the bottom of their sideways range right now. So if anything's going to pump it.
Before they won the initial lawsuit, they were sitting between 50 to 60 cents on average.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's like, if anybody bought then, most of them probably sold by now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I sold quite a bit of my bag, but what I still have left is still 11.5 gain, 11.5x gain. Like, I could sell right now and walk away and not really care, but I'm hoping it goes higher. But, you know, hopium isn't always the truth. Or you could buy Aave. I don't know, man. I was in the Aave like 5-6 years ago. I made some money and just.
She said they will stay around definitely. They were going to be like ETH. And that's kind of how they were, you know. They were in that massively descending triangle forever. And them winning their lawsuit is what really did it. And that's why I think this being free and clear of all legal battles and having your hands completely cleaned. Yeah, you had to pay a little bit of money at the end of it, but I think that gives them their last little pump. And you know, XRP can do whatever afterwards. I don't care.
Yeah, but they're in the news, and they're in the news for kind of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Say like Ethereum, or they're in the news. But when was the last good thing that happened with Ethereum?
Has anything ever good happened with Ethereum?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, like, it got a nice little pump last cycle, but I mean, it's never really had any real good news on it.
No, and then if you're in the crypto community for long enough, you understand that Ethereum, yes, it's good. It serves its purpose, but the gas fees are extremely high. Oh, you want to pay $60 to send $100? Sure, we're your team, Team Ethereum, you know? Give you 60% fucking fees to transfer money. Like, no.
It's that security, you know? They just but I mean, those gas fees are something banks don't care about paying. And that's why there's a Ethereum ETF. And they're not using L2s to purchase their Ethereum, which is the only way I moved Ethereum around the cycle and then sold off at like 3,800. So I made my gains off of Ethereum and then I never touched it again. Just because, you know, it wasn't a very good longer investment, at least in my eyes. It might get another little pump, but I think next cycle is where it's really going to shine. Just because, you know, it's number 2 and it's been around for a while and people are like, hey, why do I buy Fartcoin? or whatever meme coin you want to throw out there, when I could just buy Ethereum, which has proven itself. Yeah, you might not like what it is proved, which I am of that camp, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to put my money there and make money, because I do think it's going to pump.
Yeah, but
Andrew,
you're just putting your money there to make money. You're not there to support the coin or
no
its blockchain. You're just like, no, I'm just putting my money in this to make money. That's kind of why people would put their money in a meme coin, because it's either you get a huge pump or a huge dump. You either lose it all or you make a lot of money. Like with meme coins, I feel that's kind of how it is. It's either you win or you lose. You can buy 50 of them and you might win on 2, but what you win might be more than your original investment. Maybe.
Or I could just buy Bitcoin, and this past cycle, it's done like 500%. So I don't know. Like, how much more do you really need? Andrew is saying, did you ever look at TeraWolf, BC? I remember I was talking to you about it. That stock I bought a while back is a Bitcoin nuclear mining facility. Yes, I did. I haven't bought into it yet. It's still in a decent like uptrend for now, but it's like bumping up against some resistance. I think I'll get another decent buying point at it. I've just been on the actual nuclear play of side. No, but it's definitely a decent stock. It's just, I think there's still time to buy, especially when Bitcoin mining at this point of the cycle is kind of overplayed. Where why would I buy when Bitcoin's close? Why would I buy a mining stock when Bitcoin's closer to its peaks, when I could buy in the bull cycle or the bear cycle and be so much better? Because it got its rips and now it's sitting back down at the bottoms, and then it got its rip and then went back down, and then we're now right back down towards the bottoming price. So I'll probably buy that one in the bear cycle the same way that I'll buy strategy. If it makes it through this bear cycle, I'll buy some strategy. The same way that a few of these other mining companies like Riot, I'll buy that in the bear cycle if it's still around. So I've just been actually buying nuclear stocks, and woo, they have been ripping towards the upside. So that's been my like me, what everyone else was buying the altcoins, I was buying nuclear stocks. So I told everyone about it on Good Morning Crypto back in like December, and then January, and then February, and now they are all ripping like crazy. So it's 6 months to get in.
Congrats, man! Congrats.
Oh, thank you. I tried to share it with as many people as I could. I don't usually buy IPOs, but when we had a large correction in April, I loaded up on CoreWeave and just sold for asked in stock market crazy, doing better than crypto. Yeah, we talked about CoreWeave over on the Piper Academy when it first started making some waves. I talked about a few other ones back then as well. You kind of have to go back and look at the Good Morning Crypto playlist, but there's several of those that I had talked about. I talked about the Circle IPO. I talked about Chime's IPO. That one didn't rip as much as I wanted, but still a nice little play where I made I think it was like 60%, and then boom, immediately sold off because it just was in a downtrend. Circle still ripping. So stocks have been doing me a whole lot better than alts. I see Techman in here. How you doing tonight, sir? Hope you're having a great Monday. Looks like I opened an Amish streams. What's up, furry dudes? Yeah, just the beards are here tonight. So we will have CCM back next week. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to talk about.
Not really. I mean, I wanted to maybe make a little comment about how, like, the whole Germany and Ukraine war happened. Like, the stocks rose, and then they started to pull back, and then crypto rose, and maybe this is another unfortunate war over the pond where stocks are rising. Once they start to pull back, and crypto might rise again. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that's what I see. Unfortunately, with wars over across the pond, but for us here, if you want to make some money, I feel that's kind of the way it is. Get into stocks now. When they start to pull back, sell, turn into crypto, and then those will probably maybe pump, but not financial advice. I'm just saying I've seen it a few times already, but it's just sad to see all them wars over across the pond that innocent people are dying, and it's just sad.
No, it is definitely sad. It has definitely been all over the news. And we will continue to hear more about it as things continue to progress. God, I think a lot of it is just getting started. And we'll kind of have to see what more gets said and what more happens. So, God, it's a crazy time that we're living in. You just had Pakistan and India, and now we got more stuff in the Middle East all over again. And it's just been one thing after another. And I think you've been seeing a lot of people kind of numb to it because the internet has kind of removed us from everything going on.
Yeah. I was going to say something, but I was going to look something up, and I completely spaced out and forgot.
Oh, all good, all good. It is about time to wind it on down anyway. We had about 10 minutes left, and I don't really have anything else to talk about.
I really don't either. Anybody in the comment section have anything? Not anybody, anything.
We'll give them a second to see if there's anything that they wanted to talk about. Looks like oh no, read that one. No, Andrea saying nope. And no other comments coming from X. We got 59 people over there. So appreciate y'all on X watching and tuning in. If no one has anything else to talk about, then I think we'll wind the show down and see y'all next Monday for another Hot of the Line episode, which you'll definitely want to tune in for because we'll be talking some ADA. And I might try to get someone on here to join us that understands ADA a little bit more. And as Techman saying, hit the like button. I appreciate that. You got anything you want to leave the people with?
Be safe, my friends, until Friday or next Monday when we all meet again. Stay safe, be healthy, make smart decisions.
Hey, just because you said that, now I want to do something devious and a little bit unsafe. I'm just that rebellious side of me trying to come out. But thanks everyone for tuning in. We will see you at the next Hot of the Line, and we'll dance our way out of here. Let me get that pulled up. Oh, I'm ready for some dinner.
At least you found the outro.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't find it on the intro, but I found it on the outro.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? 50% is better than nothing, though, right?
Hey, especially for not knowing I was gonna run the stream tonight.
Yeah, and showing up like what 2 minutes before we were supposed
Yeah.
to go live, and you're like, shit. And I'm like, it's on the right side from what I remember. It's been a few months, but I never really played with it a little bit. But
Yeah. Well, I know for next time if I have to run it.
oh, they're saying, yeah, we're still live. You never
Are
clicked
we?
live.
Oh.
Yeah, I see it in the top left corner.
Oh. Yep.